Okay, this is my first time streaming, so let's just see how we go. I'm going to go through some harmony techniques in case you don't have a push. I'm going to be demonstrating on the push over here on this screen, but some of these techniques you can apply to anything. You can even use it just with your keyboard computer. I'm a high school teacher, so often we don't have very important music is not always important in every school, so we have sometimes not very many MIDI controllers. So the first thing I wanted to explain is how to use your computer keyboard, but I'll also be demonstrating with the push. Okay, let's get started with harmony. There's a couple little tricks and techniques that I'd want to go through first, and here's, you should be able to see my screen. I prepared a couple of things, but I'm just going to fold this up and start from the beginning. So on the push, I'm just going to add a track. And I'll blend in a MIDI track. And for starters, I'm just going to go with kind of like a keyboard sound. So I'm going to grab electric, because it's a nice, simple keyboard sound. Great. It's pretty soft. Actually, I'm going to grab I kind of made an Ableton Rhodes preset that I'm going to grab, because that's a nicer sound. Ableton Rhodes. Cool. All right. So you should be able to hear it's got that kind of wiry Rhodes sound. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to change this synth later. What I usually do is I kind of track and record with a really basic sounding instrument like a piano or a Rhodes, like electric keyboard, because I think it represents the sound better, and I also don't get stuck up in sound design. If I don't like the sound, then I feel less inspired, whereas I naturally start with a bland sound, and then it can take it to anywhere. So I've already got this in minor, but your push probably comes in major from the beginning. Yes, you can see that on my screen. Of course you can. Not used to this having like multiple cameras thing here. Usually starts in major. Over my analysis, and I've been a jazz musician and classical musician in different arenas, most songs are actually in minor. So, and we kind of have more range to do in minor, and minor actually has more major chords, strangely enough. So let's switch to minor, because I find the whole songwriting process easier in minor, and we have a few more options. And of course, most music is written in minor. So I'm not quite sure how basic your knowledge is or whatever, but I'm going to start really basic, because even if you have advanced knowledge, this is another way that you can think about it. If you do have basic knowledge and Ableton is kind of how you're starting out, great, this is perfect for you. Now I'm in in-key mode, so to change from in-key mode, I can just click scale here and go to chromatic. But I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to stick with in-key mode. I think in-key mode is what Ableton's push is really excels at. It's fantastic at doing this. I mean, it's also kind of like the only one that can. The Novation Launchpad can as well, but yeah. I mean, the push was first. Okay, so I've got my part here. I'm just going to solo mine, and I'm going to turn my metronome on. So what I like to do is I'm a melody player. My first instrument was the saxophone and flute. So push, it's not native to me, and my other instrument is guitar. So guitar and push both can play chords, but flute can't. So flute and saxophone, we can only play one note. This is important because I kind of think in melodies. So let's think in melodies. If I think about a simple chord progression, I might go and choose, let's see, can I just select yeah, cool. I'm going to make one down here so that we're kind of out of the way. Let's think up, and let's keep it simple, 4-bar chord progression. I'm just going to think up, though, the shape of the melody first. Cool, that will do. That's going to be really basic. Great. Okay, I've got my 4-bar loop. Now I've got it here. Just going to quantize it to fourths. Great, so this is called the bass note, or the root note of a chord progression. Now the root note usually determines what chord it is. It doesn't always, but it usually does. So I've got 1, 3, 5, and 4. if you've done my courses before, you might have seen how I talk about numbers. Understanding the numbers of musical notes is really, really important. So if we start with 1, all the green notes are 1. So that's C. Are we in the key of C? Yeah, we're in the key of C. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1 again. Okay. Why that's useful is because many songs follow the same patterns. You know, this chord progression has probably been used hundreds and thousands of times. Anyway, to continue. What I can do then is layer my chords. So let's just do a really basic. We're going to just layer triads on top of this. I'm going to layer triads in an octave though, because if we're talking about how a keyboard player plays, they don't just play with one hand. What I just did then is just play one note, but we want to play with two hands. Usually the keyboard player will play 1 or 2 notes in their left hand and usually three or 4 notes in their right hand. So what we see is something like this, with the lower hand playing the octave note and the higher hand playing something like a chord. So if I record this, then we'll have our 2 layers and an octave double of the root note. Now this is a tediously boring chord progression, but let's try and make it a little bit more interesting. Just going to quantize it again. Okay, now when we come across a really basic chord progression like this, we might be inclined to think it doesn't sound any good, but it's actually still a chord progression that gets used a lot in popular music. Now what makes it sound good or bad is also the voice leading. Okay, phone, go away. Voice leading is about how the notes connect together. So if we look on the screen here, there are, here's our C minor chord. So C, D sharp, and G should be called E flat. And then we have E flat major triad, or D sharp in this case, G, and F minor. G minor. So they're all minor chords. Oh no, this one's the major chord. Now what I want to do is try and get these chords to match up, to try and not just move in blocks. So you can see this is going up, this is going up, this is going up, this is going up. Now our bass line has to stay the same, but these notes can be changed. So let's try and change our voice leading. I'm just going to press Shift on the computer keyboard and drop this one an octave. So this means we've got the same note stays on top. Here, I'm going to drop this one an octave. That means we go up. Oh, let's see if we can keep it all the same. I wonder. Now, this might not sound good, but you can experiment with. Now, that's much better voice leading, in my opinion, because the voices don't change as much. We see these voices stay the same, these voices stay the same, this voice goes down a little bit. Again, this voice stays the same, this voice splits into 2 here. So the voice leading is a lot better. This makes it a little bit more interesting. I would perhaps think about having that one on top. Yeah. Because I think this is a nice voice leading that we can have continue into the second chord. By the third chord, we start getting bored of that G on top. So we've got an A flat on top. And then A flat, G sharp, back to G. Please let me know if there's any errors in the stream. Again, this is the first time I've ever streamed. Usually I just do a video, but I don't really have time to do video editing at the moment. So let's just see how we go. Let me know in the chat if there's any problems. Can you hear the video? Can you hear Ableton, everything? Or just say hi. Tell me what country you're from, what language you speak. I can speak in French if you like. If there's any French speakers out there. Okay. Okay, so there's our voice leading. Now, just to make it a little bit smoother, I'm going to click this legato button here and make them all connect up like that. So now that they're all connected, what are we going to do? Let's try and make them into a rhythmic thing. So again, this is a very basic and simple chord progression, but what I try and define my chord progressions by is like in the in key mode, what number it is. So this would be, I would call this a 1, 3, 5, 4 progression in a minor key. It's always going to be those. Now, if I switch to major key, it's obviously going to sound very different. I said major, please. Very, very different sound, but yeah, we're just going to work with minor for now. So 1, 3, 4, 5. Now there are much more interesting chord progressions that we could use. So maybe we just use a different chord progression. But that's the basics of how I do it. We can also start making sevenths on this chord progression to make it a little bit more interesting. So back to the melodic idea is here we can improvise a note on top of it, or to okay, let's just try that. Now, one of those notes is a double. I can hear it. That's a better sound. Now, why did that one not record? That one should have recorded. Hey, great. I have some messages. Hello from Switzerland. Denu. Hi, Denu. Hi, Gaspard. Bonjour, Gaspard. Bonsoir, pardon. Hola, Juan. ¿Cómo estás? Hello, Juan, and that's all. Okay, cool. Thanks. I'm glad to hear that it's all working. Great. Okay. So what I've done now is I've added a couple of like sevenths and other notes, but all I did was I just improvised different notes, and you can just run that a few times. So now I've got four layer chords. I could have 5 layer chords if I want. I play guitar, so on a guitar we've got 6 notes that we can do. It's getting a bit thick if we get past 5, I would say. In big band composing, usually what happens is we might arrange for 5 notes in the saxophone section. That's about as complex as it gets. All right, I'm going to have to jump up an octave so I have more space on my push here. And I'm just going to change the color from green to something else so that we can see a little bit clearer. There we go. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to add another layer of notes, and let's just see if we can create a really thick chord. I'm going to make more movement. Okay, the sounds that you're hearing now might be that these ones are standing out too much. Also, with this instrument, it's really important to balance the volume, the velocity of the notes, because it's very velocity sensitive. Cpona, welcome from the US. Great. I hope everyone's doing okay in this quarantine. But yeah, again, I'm stuck at home. I've actually been doing all my teaching online, which is very interesting, but I figured that since I've been teaching online for 3 weeks, maybe I should try teaching some Ableton stuff online for 3 weeks. Cool. So instead of what we had before, which was just kind of this bland chord progression, I might just go back and quickly record what I had at the start. It's still a boring chord progression, but we've now beefed it up. I'm just going to record it again. Now it's recorded at an octave above. So I'm just going to drop it an octave. So I did that by pressing Shift and then down. So this is the chord progression we started with, yeah, and the chord progression we ended with. So I'm just going to label it 1. I'm just going to label this 2. Cool. It's still got that same underlying, I can hear the 1, 3, 5, 4. It's still kind of, to me, a boring chord progression. But it sounds a lot better with these extra notes. So that's one technique you can do, is just adding layers and adding parts. Hello from Romania, Adrian Spark. Welcome, Adrian. Hope you're getting some tips out of this. Okay, so now we've got a 1, 2, 3, 6-part chord. Sweet. That's a lot nicer. And you notice what I also did is did passing notes in these ones. So this one's got a passing note. I could add a passing note. Oh, Ableton's just frozen. So here I could add a passing note by just going, so see if I'm looking, this is going up. I want to add a passing note into this note. Da, da. I'm going to add a passing note that goes up to this A flat. Cool. Great. All right, I got my parts there working. All right, now now we've decided, I think this chord progression's okay. Let's now put it into a sound and also a rhythm. The first way, I'm just going to get it to become a rhythm is with something called sidechain gating. Now, sidechain gating is where we use one audio source to change the rhythm of the other audio source. So in this case, I'm going to make a drum track. So I'm just going to go add track. And I'm going to, again, I'm lazy with my drums. So I'm just going to grab, and actually it doesn't matter what drums you use. I'm going to just grab this So Future kit from my collections. And unfortunately, the So Future kit has a delay on it. So I'm going to turn the delay off. That's my hi-hat. Okay, that's a crappy bass drum. Duplicate this to here. That's better. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so what I really want is this hi-hat sound, because I'm going to use a short kind of hi-hat or a rim shot or something to use this to trigger the rhythms. What I also like doing in my process of composition is breaking it down into different parts. So as you saw, I did bass part, and then I did chordal part, main chords, and then I did the higher part of the chords. Now I'm doing the rhythm, all separately. For me, I think this works really well, as I'm really, I don't know, very technically minded. Okay, also feel free to just shout out if there's any questions in the chat. Let me know. Okay, so now I'm going to chuck this one with a sidechain gate. All right, so I'm going to go into Ableton. I'm going to grab my audio effects. I'm going to grab a gate, chuck it in here. Now, gate, if you fold it out, there's this sidechain effort. I'm going to grab sidechain from number 9 So Future kit. That's this one here. I've already added a So Future kit. So now what's going to happen is when I play, I'm just going to stop all of these, stop all of those. It's actually not, you can hardly hear it because it's cutting the gate is cutting that sound out. Now, what I'm going to do here, now I can play the drum part, and the drum part will trigger those chords. So this can be really useful for getting like quite complicated rhythms, especially for like future bass or something like that. Can be really, really useful. So let's just record a simple rhythm, and then we can amp it up a little bit. Again, 1 variation, 2 variations. Let's just hit repeat, and I'm going to go. Cool, that's going to be simple. Just going to do 8th notes there. Cool. Now, the other thing is this drum, it's triggering the chord, but it doesn't have to be there. So what I can actually do is just mute it. Great. So it's just a trigger, just like a sidechain. If we sidechain our drums, like sidechain compression, some people use like a ghost sidechain so that the drum part is not necessarily the exact drum that they use. Cool. So now there's our rhythm. Let's see if we can have a more interesting rhythm. So what I've just done is I switched repeat to 16th notes, and I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm such an obsessive person. I just want it to be called 1 and 2. Why can't it just do a duplication? Okay. Now I'm going to like intersperse the rhythms of 8ths with 16ths. Cool. Now I've got some different rhythms in here. So that's my second variation. I also now want to go in and adjust the gate. So here's my gate. Now, if I use the attack on the gate, I can actually make it kind of clip at the start. So I'm just adjusting the attack here, and if it's really short, it's clipping, which kind of makes it pop. You can use that to your advantage if you like. Sorry, I'm just getting a message. Sorry, one of my friends has asked for the link for the stream. Give me 1 second. Copy. Paste. Done. Cool. All right. So the gate is really important about how it functions. Whether you want a really short sound or if you want it to be longer, you can adjust this hold and release time. Also, we want to adjust this threshold. So I want it to be a short sound, so I'm just going to bring it down on the release. And wow, thank you for subscribing, Jacobo Padilla. Where are you from, Jacobo? I hope some people are sharing where they're from. I hear Romania, US, Switzerland, France, and Mexico. So we got Spanish speakers, we got French speakers. Switzerland, you speak a couple of different languages, don't you? Just like I'm in Belgium, so we have 3 official languages. But and Romanian. All I know how to say in Romanian is Bună ziua. Sorry, Adrian, that's all I got. Aha! And from Canary Islands. Hola! Oh, it must be nice there. Cool, so I'm just adjusting this threshold and stuff to get it to sound right. And I'm just going to teal that attack. But if you want it to have that little pop at the start, you can bring that attack really down. But I want it to be a bit softer now. Now, I've got basically what I want it to do. Now, I actually don't want to use this Rhodes sound. I want to use like a synth sound. So I'm just going to duplicate that. I don't like losing anything, so I'm just going to duplicate it, but I'll keep it. So I've got the sound still. Now I'm just going to grab an operator and I'll chuck the operator in there instead. Cool, just doing some changes in the operator. Okay, let's see if we can get a different sound layered up with the wavetable. I don't want to go much into sound design here because we're looking about harmony, but these are some harmony tricks. I'm also going to go, if you don't have a push, just later, if you don't have a push, how you can use just your keyboard. This is what I was doing with my high school students just before. Okay, and now I've got wavetable. Okay, there's wavetable in. Now wavetable's got something really nice, which is this unison mode. I'm gonna get shimmer, which is like just a beautiful sound. I love this unison shimmer. Yeah, but about 30% is good. So there we've got kind of a lot more like of a future bass sounding synth part instead of what we had before, which was just a Rhodes. But again, as I said, like I like segmenting it all up into different processes, because if we start with, if we try and do too many things at once, it gets very, your mind has not enough focus to do it all. So one thing, bass part, this part, this part, this part, and moving on. I think the same with mixing and mastering, because otherwise you're working on too many things at once. Great. So we started with this boring. Where is it? This boring. Where's the bloody thing? We started this boring chord progression that sounded like this. And we've turned it into this. Also, I was thinking of making this project available at the end of the, I was about to say class, I'm such a teacher. At the end of the live stream, just let me know in the chat if you want me to do that, and I'll figure out a way to share it. So there we've got our harmony chords. Let's see how we can do this without a push. Just going to go over to the chat now. Who does have a push? Can you just let me know if you have a push or if you don't have a push, if you are not using a push? Otherwise, if there's no one who's not using a push, then I won't have to go through it. Okay, I'm going to try this chat thing and see. Great. I also see some of you have joined the Facebook group. Great. So I'll be posting the challenges. Okay, so Ross, oh man, your name is hard to say. Ross Salmon Asterix. Okay. Ross Salmon Asterix, just a chord. So we've got a couple of pushes, a micro key, and a arturia. All right. So even if you do have a push, there are some times you'll be without your push. It's very hard to say that, but it is true. Like when I'm at school, I don't have a push always in my classroom. So sometimes I just have to use a computer keyboard. All right, let's look at how we could possibly do this with the computer keyboard. So I'm going to start again with this same track. All right, this is our boring chord progression. Let's see if we can recreate this just with our computer keyboard. So the easiest way to do this, I don't know about you, but I cannot play keys on a computer keyboard. It's impossible. You don't need to. But the basic principle of being able to play like 1, 3, 5, 4, you can do that on a computer keyboard. So let's figure out how we can cheat. Now this is really useful for my high school students because some of them don't have any music theory knowledge. Some of them do, but generally, no. I start with 11-year-olds, and they can compose melodies and stuff with this. So this technique involves us to grab a chord device and a scale device. I'm actually just going to go again, scale device, minor, C minor. Cool. Probably just going to favorite that one. Okay, C minor. So we've got a C minor chord, and we want to make a chord. So to make a chord, this is about semitones. I think I need to just switch the light on because it's getting dark in here. That's better. All right, so semitones. So if we go on pushes in key mode, sorry, chromatic mode shows us, why is it not playing? Chromatic mode shows us all of the notes. So like on a piano keyboard, there's all the white notes and all the black notes. That's called chromatic. And this is our part of our chromatic scale. So all these kind of dark notes, they're the notes that are out of the scale. If you haven't used the push before, that's how it works. So the semitones, if we count the semitones, and I'm not going to explain, like this is just music theory, It's 3 and it's 7 to make a minor chord. And if we wanted to make a minor 7th chord, we could go 3, 7, 10. Let's see. Yep, there we go. So there's our chord. Ooh. Now it's a parallel chord. Now I'm going to switch on my scale device. So it's locking them into that minus chord. Okay, so we've got to push, and Gaspard, il a dit, in the train. Yeah, so if you're working on the train, perfect, exactly. If you've just got your laptop and you haven't got your push, yep, you've just got your keyboard. This is another way you can work on it. Or if you go on holiday and you just take your laptop. Another example. Great, so I'm just going to bring this in, and I'll show you how we can do this with our computer keyboard. Now, I can't actually show you my computer keyboard because I haven't got another camera. Or do I? Can I just put it over the push? Yes, I can. Except it's going to trigger the push. Okay, I'll just hold it. All right, computer keyboard is there. So I'm going to play the same notes as I did before. Okay, let's just come up with a new chord progression because I'm really bored of that one. New chord progression, please. New. Okay. Now you'll notice that Ableton's only recorded just the notes that I played on the keyboard, which can be a little bit annoying because remember the second stage of our process was changing the notes, making the voice leading work. But there's a way we can do that. So first I'll just quantize, and it's just getting a bit warm in here, so I'm going to open up the window. Hopefully the neighbors are not screaming. There they are. Oh well. Let me know in the chat if you can hear my neighbors. All right, so what we'll do is we'll go through the same voice leading process, but there's a different way we have to go about doing it. So we have to make a new MIDI track. That's Command Shift T. And we're going to record the MIDI from the chord device and the scale device into the second track. So it's pretty easy to do. I'm just going to hit record and direct the MIDI in from number 9, Ableton Roads. So let's just hit this, and I'm going to click record arm and record. You can hear the neighbors. Gaspard, oui, les voisins, c'est juste là. Yep, I know, but there's some birds out there too. Okay, so now I have the recorded part from my MIDI. Fantastic, this is what it looks like. I can now okay, they're just too noisy. All right, I can record, and I've got my new recording part, and now I want to switch off my chord device, because otherwise it's going to sound really crazy. Now I've got these parts that's recorded from the chord device. Neighbors, yes, the combination. I see the pun you made there. Pun of the day goes to Gaspard. Neighbors, indeed. I'm surprised there are birds out there. All there is that's out there is a construction site. So the birds, maybe they're pissed off about that. Okay, so for example, this chord, it's actually wrong. I'm not sure if you can hear, but that's clashing a lot. Sometimes the scale device, when it locks a note the wrong direction. Basically, there's always two options. If it's a note that's in the middle, it can either go up or it can go down, and sometimes it goes the wrong way. So, and this is also an octave too high. That needs to be a D. I don't know why it went to an E flat. That's correct. Okay. Okay, fine. What did we learn also about the chords that the piano players played? Do they just use one hand or do they use two hands? They use two hands is the answer. So, I'm going to drop the octaves on the lower notes. Like that. And then I have my chord and my bass note. Now I can start the voice leading process. I'm going to drop this one. I'm going to put that one up. Maybe. What did I just do? Ooh, it sounds almost a little bit Daft Punky. Okay. Yeah, that could definitely have a sick bass line under it. All right. So that's the other method we can do with just our computer keyboard. Or a really basic, if you've got a really basic MIDI controller, like when I moved overseas, all I started off with was a Korg micro key, and it's okay for basic stuff, but it's pretty difficult to get anything decent composed with it. I now have a pretty basic keyboard as well, but it's just under here, and it's only got 25 keys, so it's the other thing. All right. Okay, so I'm going to ask, is there any questions about harmony? Because there's two tricks that you can use, either with the push or without the push. I'm obviously going to have to go into other tricks next time, but I hope to do one of these each week while we're in quarantine, as I have a bit more time than usual, as there are no gigs. Okay, any questions, please let me know about harmony stuff. And I might go into sampling. Hey Jeff Daddy 2K, thumbs up. Does that mean there's no questions? So I'm going to take a drink of water. Was it too easy? Will you be doing stuff like song reviews, says Raw Salmon Asterix. Like you send me a song and I'll review it? Yeah, I'd like to do that too. Did you mean something else? Gaspar, no questions. Cool. Was that too easy, Gaspar, or too difficult, or okay? Exactly that, Raw Salmon. Yeah. So, Raw Salmon Asterix, yeah. First thing I'm going to be doing, though, is more to do with specific challenges. So I'll tell you about it at the end of the show, but the first challenge for this week is going to be about sampling. So I'm going to be giving you a challenge, and I mean, if you're hanging around, it's going to be recorded and it will be sent at the end of the stream. I'll also put it up on the Facebook page. Happy to get the gate trick. Cool, yeah. The gate trick is a good one. The sidechain gating, Gaspar, it's really, really cool. You can do it with a lot of other stuff too. I might show you. There's a really cool way we can like join a whole lot of stuff together. Kind of like if you know Breakbot, it's a French producer actually. Breakbot does a lot of sidechain gating. It's pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of sidechain compression, but you can also sidechain gates and filters. So I might talk about some of that at another one. So yes, to answer your question, Raw Salmon, yes, there'll be song reviews, but I'm more going to review for this week the sampling stuff we do. Rather than a full composition, because I want you to work on, I don't know, it's the teacher in me. I want you to work on the things that I've been talking about. Okay, all right, let's go down to sampling. So when I moved over here in Belgium, I didn't have a lot of gear. So what I did is I tried to sample stuff around the house. And a lot of people stuck at home, and they're probably wondering how they're going to get, new sounds, and probably trying to buy a whole lot of crap they don't need. Don't do that. Just use the crap you do have. So I've got a collection of things here. Cheese grater, some kind of metal bowl, Belgian beer glass. that I'm going to show you how to sample and turn into your own instruments. What's really cool about this is you get sounds that no one's ever created before. You know, it's an original sound. I mean, there are sounds that are similar, but nothing's going to sound exactly like that. So if you can be bothered taking the time, it's a really cool way of getting, you know, your own original sounds. And then you can save them as instruments in Ableton or in whatever program you like. And yeah, you can keep them and use them for later things. Thank you for, yeah, thanks, Jeff Daddy. Cool. Hope you're enjoying it. And yeah, Juan, yes. Personally, I'm really like music theory obsessed. I love music theory. So the approach for like leaving sound design to a later stage, it means I don't get bogged up in it because it's really easy to get logged up in sound design. I can do another stream on how I do approach sound design though later. Might put that one down. Kind of a bit along the lines of how Mr. Bill does. I like that, but he's also Australian, so cool. Okay, gonna move on to sampling. I'm going to start with my water bottle. So just one thing, with sampling, you kind of need to start thinking in a really creative way or a different way than maybe you usually do. There are noises, but what differentiates noise from music? And there's not a lot really, you know. If I told you that I could make this into a musical sound, maybe you wouldn't believe me, but that's kind of a percussive sound. Whereas if I do this, we can hear a note with that one. So we can, you know, turn these into different sounds, obviously, but kind of everything around you has a sound, and many things often have what's called a reverberant frequency. So even like your desk and stuff, they have a frequency that they vibrate at. It's about physics. I'm not going to get into physics at the moment. So I learnt about this when I learnt classical music, and it's about how we learn about harmonics and stuff. Cool. So I'm going to start with this water bottle because it's got a really nice sound. So let's get up a new track to sample into. So you should be able to see, oh no, I moved the camera. I'm just going to move the camera back a little bit. You should be able to see my microphone here. It's a Rode NT1A. And I'm going to make a new track just to sample our stuff into. So sampling 2 and enable the microphone. Cool. Right, so the other thing to take into consideration is before you start sampling, there's 2 things. Your volume levels, which I've already checked. You can't see it, but on my audio interface, which is an Mo2 828, it's over here and I can see just on the side the volume levels. Also, whether your the volume on your interface has a compressor or anything in it. If it has a compressor, like this has a limiter and a compressor inbuilt. So why that's really good is if I hit it really loud, it goes into the red. I'm sorry if that was too loud for the microphone. It goes into the red, I can see it, but it actually like will do a limiting on it. So it has an inbuilt limiter. If you're got a more basic audio interface, it might clip. So just be careful. The top volume, it will clip. Okay, so I'll just show you. Maybe I can make it clip. We'll see. Okay, other thing to consider: position and what you're going to hit it with. So I'm going to try hitting it with 2 different things. I've got a wooden mallet here, and I've got a metal mallet here. So traditionally with percussion instruments, they're usually wooden or metal. We're talking about pitched percussion instruments like xylophone or marimba or vibraphone. So I'm just going to go with 2 different ones. Let's try sampling this. Okay, it's going to start sampling. It's going to play the bloody chord progression as well. We don't need that. All right, delete, and we'll just try it again. Now that's where the sound stops. So make sure, you can see at the beginning, make sure that your sound goes all the way to the end, because otherwise we can't sample it. Okay, that's with the metal beater. Now let's switch to the metal beater. It's scissors. Cool. Now, at this point, I'm just going to use those, but I might also try and do some other samples from the bottle. So, like hitting it in different spots. Let's see if the bottle cap makes any interesting sounds. Okay, anyway, this is a melodic instrument, so, well, I'm going to turn this into largely a melodic instrument. So the point of that one is to really get the longer sounds, but always experiment, like try and get as many sounds as you can out of that. Yeah, this is always the fun part of production. If you like it, this is going to be your challenge, Raw Salmon Asterisk. So rather than starting with the song reviews, what I'm going to do is review your samples. This is the challenge for the end of the week. It's going to be getting you to sample 3 things and post your samples and the instruments you made. So let's see how we can turn this into an instrument. So really simply, I'm going to grab this, and on the push, I can click convert, and it will say convert to simpler drum pad harmony MIDI blah blah blah. I'm going to convert it to simpler. If you don't have a push, it's very easy. You just create a simpler. I'm going to do that for you now and just show you how you can do that. Grab a simpler and you just drag it in there, drag it into the simpler, and then we have our sample. Cool. So that's why push is kind of nice, because it's just button, done. It's really nice and quick. All right, now I've got my sample. This is probably actually where we need to review which samples are the best, but screw it. Let's just go with like what looks like the best. Why is it so high pitched? I was hitting the wrong note. So the waveform here, it shows us like which waveforms are healthy and which waveforms are kind of not. And there's me talking, obviously. Now that waveform I like the look of because it's got a longer reverberation. So bugger it, let's just go with that one. Now simpler is pretty limiting, so I'm actually going to go with sampler. And now we have a lot of control. All right, I'm just going to use that small sample. Now I've got to really zoom in to get the start of this note. We want to make sure that we're sampling from the very beginning. And also, if you notice that like I can only move it in little bits, I've got snap on. So we can turn snap off, and that will make it a bit easier. Also, if you want me to sample anything specific, let me know. Maybe some like pots or pans or a wooden spoon. Give me some ideas that you're thinking about what you're going to sample this week, or anything you want me to sample. So there's the start of my thing, and it goes all the way to there, and I want it to be finished here. Now I'm going to click the sustain mode, which we're going to go forward and back. Sounds like the neighbors are still yelling. I can hear them. Now I've put it into sustain mode where it goes back and forward. Now we can also sustain it to go. Now we can hear the sample restart, which is the problem. What we want to do is actually just put a crossfade. That's all we need to do. Sorry, with this sustain mode. No, too much crossfade there. There we go. Okay. Cool. So I just chucked it through some of my sends. Cool. All right. So now I've got a chord. Yeah. This one I'm going to make into, let's call this the chords. Bottle chords. I'm going to duplicate it and make a bottle bass for later. Okay, we're almost about to hit 1 hour. Not too bad. Bottle chords and bottle bass. So the bottle chords, let's see if I play a minor chord. Cool. The 7th chord. Great. It already sounds not bad, but let's add some other things to it to make it sound. Now I'm just gonna Now one really cool thing about sampling is the sample will play, because of the different notes in the chord, the sample plays at different speeds. So it kind of like does this interesting movement sound. I don't know about you, but I can hear with my headphones, like it feels like it's almost moving around because the different parts of the sample are moving. Yeah, thanks. It's a fun part of production. Hope you like it, Jeff Daddy. It's interesting. All right, so that's interesting thing about sampling. Of course, every time we sample something, it speeds up the sample or slows down the sample. So, which is why we can hear this one oscillate a lot more than the low one. That's a bit of a boring chord though, so let's just duplicate, double the loop. I can't do sound design without having a nice chord progression with it. Cool. So there's our chord progression. Now what would be really nice is to have, again, we could use that same gate technique. We could also do something like, this is really nice high pitch sound, so it might work with something really nice like the Valhalla shimmer. I'm just gonna grab, where the hell is it? Plugins, audio units. Let's see if this will work. Oh, yes. Ethereal is the word I'm looking for here. Kieran Jones has joined the discussion. Welcome, KJ. How you doing? So, Kieran, if you've just joined, this is made out of a fucking bottle. And I've also got, of course, a Belgian beer glass that I will do later. Perhaps we could call it Beats and Beers. No body percussion. All right, so that's the original sound of our bottle, and then we've resampled it into this ethereal kind of chordal instrument. Let's see if we can get a bit more bass in it though. I haven't put any filters on it. Like there's very minimal processing here. We've just put a reverb. I could go into here and try and chuck in an oscillator or something, maybe. No, that's going to cause distortion. Personally, I like how it sounds just by itself. Kieran, you got told off by the bot. Kieran Jones, please refrain from spamming caps. It's telling you off, KJ. It's telling you off. Alright. So that's one possible... I mean, that's fine. That's fine how it is, I think. That's one possible sound. Why don't we just leave that one how it is? Don't want you to record. Leave that one how it is and just try and come up with another one. So just with that one sample, we could make another chordal instrument. Let's try and make one that has a bit more rhythm to it. This one is not going to have... I need to disable my... This one's not going to have Valhalla Shimmer. Let's see if we can put a bit more bass in it. Wait. So notice as well, because of our sampling. Oh. Yeah, that lower note sounds okay. Gaspar, yeah, it's a big fucking screen actually. Do you want me to zoom it in? Can you see? The screen is this big. You can't even, it doesn't even fit in the thing. It's a 40-inch screen. Is it too difficult to see all the lines? Should I zoom in Ableton? Please let me know in the chat if you want me to zoom in, if you can see it or if you can't. No. No comments? Okay. Well, it's good for me, so I'll just leave it at that. If I zoom in, maybe you can see a bit more. Oh, that's way too much, like 10%. Okay, I'll zoom in. So, zoom it, baby. Okay, I zoom it in 120%. Hey, that's actually not too bad. If I go any bigger than that, it's going to just look stupid to me. Sorry. Yeah, it's because it's a massive screen and I like it big. All right, so I've added like a bass note to this one. No, this one's going to be the bass. Bugger it. I'm going to kill all those high notes. What did I just kill? Oh. Okay, that one is getting out of tune. All right, the other... It's better? Thanks, Gaspar. Good. Kieran, stop heckling me. The other thing to take into consideration that I did not think about was the tuning of our sample. Now, I don't know about whoever made this bottle, but they probably weren't thinking, hey, we're going to tune it to C. No, it's not tuned. And also the other thing that I didn't talk about was when I sampled this bottle, I also chose a certain amount of water to be in it. If I drink... It should change the sound a little bit. Oh, it's gone up in pitch. You can hear that now. So also the amount of water in the bottle is going to determine the pitch. Now, we don't know what pitch it is, so how do we figure that out? I'm going to grab a... So we want to tune it with stuff. So recently I made a sample pack out of like this crazy kalimba thing, and it has all these weird notes, and it's kind of them. Some of them are kind of out of tune, and it's definitely not in tune by itself. It's not at 440 hertz. So what I had to do was change all the samples just a little bit to make sure that it was in tune. Tuning depends on what you're drinking from. Yeah, I wonder, what if I put beer in it? Yeah, so I guess I changed the screen size. I hope you can see it. Yep. Good. Excellent. Okay. So here's my bottle. Gaspar with the jokes and the puns again. Whiskey. Ah, that's a lot of bloody whiskey, man. This is like a liter bottle. I don't know about you, but I can't drink that much whiskey. But beer, maybe. What are you, like? That's the festival trick. You put the beer in the... Not the beer, the wine, the alcohol in the plastic kind of container. All right. I want to make this sound like a totally different sound. This one's like this nice kind of ethereal sound. Let's see if we can make a totally different sound out of this. So, solo it again. I'm going to see now if I can re-trigger the sample. Yeah, I'm not going to go into the tuning part actually. That's going to take too long. It's basically you have to get it in tune, you have to then go and check it against like a piano note C and then go, okay, what's the interval? You need to have the ears to be able to go, okay, the interval is this, or how much is it out of tune? And then you need to click on this little detune thing here and change it, or to change the root if it's a whole note out. So yeah, that takes a bit of time, but basically you just need to calculate the interval. I'm not going to go into intervals now. That's some music theory shite. Love music theory, by the way. All right, going back to the bottle. Let's chuck some distortion on this bitch. So KJ, if you're still there, I looked at your workflow actually and kind of changed mine to suit yours. And you had, what was it? Sound Toys Decapitator and... Oh, that's a good idea. Put a tuner after the sampler. Yeah, but how out of tune is it? Just depends. That is a good idea, KJ. Yeah, that is a very good idea, KJ. Good work. So I could... It's still sharp, so detune it. Oof. You know, this is the interesting thing. I never thought of doing that because I just usually use my ears. But yes, you can totally do a tuner. There is the quick way, the easy way to do it with your eyes. With your ears, you got to do the intervals and everything. With that, you just chuck it in. And it's okay, it's oscillating a little bit between them. But now when we play C, it's going to work. So actually, I need to copy this G3 minus 24 to the other one so that it's in tune. G3, no, that's 2, G3, and minus 24. So that these two are going to be in tune. Yeah, never use your ears. Yeah, unfortunately, with the whole my background, it's just use your ears. You know, that's all they tell you in jazz. All they tell you. But Kieran Jones, shout out to Kieran Jones for the trick there. That is an easier way if you do not want to use your ears. Anyway, back to you. Sound Toys. I was working with Kieran, who's commenting on the YouTube feed. Sound Toys has a great bundle, which is when I was recording with Kieran, we had a look at Sound Toys. and used them in one of the productions we were working on together. And Sound Toys is just the shit. I loved Decapitator, but I haven't bought it. I have tried to recreate it with some of Ableton's stock plugins, and although it is not the same, I have it in my thing here. Basically, I watched the thing about Pulverizer, and I tried to make the different parts like squash, dirt, saturate, drive, frequency, and tried to recreate the sound. Obviously, it's not the same, but it is still useful for me, like creating a huge amount of distortion and stuff. Anyway, so if I chuck this through the Pulverizer, was it Decapitator or Pulverizer? No, that was Devil Lock for the Sound Toys. Actually, this Pulverizer one, this is my distortion one, this comes from Reason. Reason has two really good distortion units, Scream and the Pulverizer. Does anyone like Reason? Anyone's using Reason as well? Reason's really got some dope plugins. Anyway, back to our bass. That's a pretty mean sound. Freak Show Industries plugin. Proper Sound Murderer. Yeah, I checked out one Freak Show Industries one. Which one do you recommend, Gaspar? Which Freak Show Industries plugin do you recommend? Okay, that is not a very nice sound. Okay, I don't like I'm gonna filter this. Hey, we have a sub bass. That's a pretty decent kind of low sound there. What names? Oh my god. Dumpster Fire, Black Mask. These are fantastic names. I'm going to have to go over the chat. Geez, I hope YouTube saves this chat. I want to go back over and check some of these. Thank you for the tips, guys. Black Mask, Dumpster Fire, and Mishby. I will see them. Kieran, your Decapitator and Devil Lock are the ones I really enjoyed, but I'll check those other ones too. Okay, we got a kind of sub bass here. Maybe we can get a bit of saturation on it. Let's get a fucking flanger. Oh. Now, just to remind you, what that sounded like before was this. And now we've got now Isotope Trash. Yeah, that's also a good one. Trash I found pretty harsh though. Like there's something in the Pulverizer, or no, Pulverizer's Reason, something in Decapitator which just makes it really kind of like analog sounding. Trash sounds really digital to me. Not sure. Okay. So we started off with this kind of bottle sound, and now we've got this bass. Let's see if we can put these together and see if they actually do anything. Cool. So they kind of work together. If I created a really distorted sound, it wouldn't work with that kind of sweet, ethereal sound up there. So I mean, that's a pretty good start for those instruments. To get a bit of movement, I've put in this flanger, but if we listen closely, the flange is causing phasing issues. I don't know if you can hear that. If you're using headphones, you should be able to hear this phasing issues. Can I get my phase? Oof, that's not what I'm looking for. There's a Max for Live plugin that shows us phase scope. Now, phase is a problem, especially in bass, because it can start cancelling out sound. Whoa, look at that phase scope down there. That is some fucking crazy phasing. Right. And there's a nice fat low note. But yeah, there's a lot of phasing going on. So I don't know, if you can't hear it, it's a little bit difficult to tell. But what I have on my master track are two things: a limiter and a utility, which is mapped to U. So I can just hit it into mono. So as soon as I hit mono, I can hear these phasing issues. See how the sound's going up and down in volume? So that's phase problems, and it's probably this. It's also because that loop is there. And bring that loop in here. But as well, we also have phase problems. Cool. Now our phase is looking less crazy. There's still crazy phase stuff going on. But that's where I'll just drop it to like half dry wet. Cool. Gaspar, resampling natural or boosted clipping is great too. What do you mean exactly by boosted clipping? Cool. So there we've got two instruments out of just one sound. Great. There's many more that you can do. On my YouTube channel, I created like a few years back a sample anything challenge. Well, that was same thing when I moved here, trying to sample a whole lot of different things and make, in fact, the challenge was to make an entire track out of that one sample. So drum parts, bass parts, synth parts, everything. And that's a little extreme, but even just creating a couple of different instruments out of the one sample, it's really useful. So that's going to be the challenge at the end of this broadcast, which is going to be in around 10 minutes, I think, because it's been an hour and a half and I'm getting tired. And there's next week. So we have gone through harmony, we've gone through sampling, sample stuff, sample anything instruments. Cool. I can't find a YouTube live. Jeff Daddy. Okay, let me send it to you, Jeff Daddy. That is easy. YouTube live. It is here. Boom. So sorry, Gaspar, just going back to yours for a second. Force clipping something, boosting import volume. So yeah, a pre-volume boost, and then resample again, and clipping the sample again. Whoa, I haven't tried this, but I assume you get some like nasty ass distortion out of that. Is that what you mean? Maybe a thing for next time. What I used to really like doing was I had an old guitar pedal, which was like an 80s distortion rack pedal, and man, it was really cool at creating distortion. So I just sent a whole bunch of synths through there. Jeff Daddy, did you get that link? Yes, sound destruction, indeed. Just totally destroy it. The other cool thing is just like layers of that distortion, like distort it, grain stretch it, distort it again, grain stretch it, like to shit. Can get some really cool ones. I might go into distortion a little bit next time. This is coming to the end. So I'm going to tell you what your challenge is for next week. Weekly challenge. Your weekly challenge is to sample something. Let me just find it. Is sample 3 things, actually, not just one thing. 3 everyday objects. Nothing musical. Has to be like bullshit. Like, yeah. I didn't get to sample this, actually, so I could do it next week. But my cheese grater, for example. The other one I had here as an example was my, I don't know what the hell that is. Part of like a box. So these couple of things, I want you to sample 3 things and make 3 different instruments. Like we made 2 today, make 3 different instruments. So make the instrument, tell me what kind of instrument it is. Like, is it a chord instrument? Is it a bass instrument? Percussion instruments, I'm not really going to focus on that because I think that's kind of a bit easier. You can make percussion sounds, or maybe we can do percussion sounds another day because I haven't done percussion sounds today. We've done just melodic sounds. So sample 3 things, make 3 different melodic instruments out of it, and then post it to the Facebook group. Some of you haven't got the Facebook group, maybe. I don't know. Maybe some of you are on my emailing list. I have no idea. Jeff is here. Hey, Jeff. Yeah, will it be saved on another platform? It will be saved on YouTube automatically. I'm not sure if Twitch saves it automatically. So it's currently streaming to YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer. I don't know what they are, but, you know, someone said stream to these websites, and I said, sure. No Facebook. No, it's not streaming to Facebook because the protocol I use, Restream, it's charging me to stream to Facebook. So I'm a cheapskate, and I said no. So I'm just going to post to Facebook. I can't do YouTube and Facebook. That's impossible. And most people said they want YouTube, not Facebook. So I just went with YouTube. The Facebook group is there. I just posted that. So that's kind of like your challenge for the week. Before next Thursday, sample 3 things, just like the method we did today, and then make 3 different instruments. I want you to try and make different types of instruments too. So like a chordal instrument or a bass instrument or a pad instrument. And then, no Facebook. Just a second, Gaspar. I'll come back to that in a second. 3 different instruments. And then also try and make a little example, musical example with them so that you can post it as an MP3 or something. Coming back to you, Gaspar, I have no Facebook. Aha. That might make it difficult. No, we have a Discord as well. So there's a Discord. Shit, where is the Discord? I haven't used any of these services before, really. So this is all kind of new to me. Gaspar, will a Discord work for you? That's my only other option. See if I can share it with you. Wait. Nope. Not sure if this is going to work, but I'm just going to try and copy the Discord chat in there. Yeah. The easiest ways of communicating is going to be the Facebook one, to be honest, because it's like a lessons group. I made it for my students online. So there's like students from Udemy and students from, what's it called? Teachable, get directed there. Always feel that posting something is like being naked in a supermarket. Oh man, I don't really understand what that means, but hey, thanks Dario. Thank you for following. We're just coming to the end though, Dario. So I hope you didn't just join. There's the Facebook group and there's the Discord group. I'm just posting that here now. So there's those 2 methods to post things. I don't really know how Discord works. I never used it before, but I hope that you can post some of your creations. So what I want you to try and do is those 3 things. And I'm going to leave it at the end of the live stream if you want to just write it down. I'm going to start finishing up. Are there any other questions before the end of the stream? We've got 5 minutes, or 3 minutes, in fact. Any suggestions for next week? No? Radio silence? Would you like me to post the project file from today? Okay, Gaspar, the 3 things. You just need to sample 3 things. So try and sample 3 different objects. Like I had my 3 different objects here. Was my bottle, my beer glass, and my cheese grater, and make 3 different instruments out of those. So you can make like a pad sound, you could make a bass sound, you can make a chord sound, and that's it. You know, using the sampler usually is how I do it. And then post it to your things. Cool. Fuck you, Kieran. Raw Salmon, Asterix, have you made a soundtrack for a video game? Yes. 11 years ago, when I was first starting composition, my first commission was a video game, and it was a really boring one, but it got me into composing, and since then I've been doing more. But it was like really boring educational game for the government, but they paid well, so that's why I took it. Cool. I have a bit of delay on the messages. Okay, so I'm just waiting. Okay, so if there's no questions, I'm going to wrap it up here. Feel free to post questions in the forum. So there's the Discord, and I'd prefer you to use the Facebook group because I will check that more frequently. So just to keep in touch, if you want the Facebook group, oh God, where's the Discord again? Bloody hell. Facebook group and Discord, I'll just post again. And please post your challenges before next Thursday. Into the group or the Discord. Okay, if there's no other questions, I'm going to clock out. I'm going to leave you with the challenge information on the screen. And if you want to get in contact, it's the Ableton Push Theory courses, the Facebook or the Discord there. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. And I will go over to the ending challenge. Bye.